You've started 47 projects and mastered the basics of 12 different skills, and you have more ideas saved in your notes app than most people have in a lifetime, but you rarely finish anything. And everyone calls it lack of discipline or commitment issues or being scattered, but what you are experiencing is not a flaw, it is not a character defect. It is a specific brain type that most people simply do not have. Your brain is wired for exploration over completion, and that is not weakness or self-sabotage. It is actually a cognitive strategy that has driven innovation throughout human history, and science is finally explaining why some minds were never designed to stay in one lane. Research shows that your brain releases the highest amount of dopamine not when you master something, but when you first start learning it, because the beginning stages of any new skill are filled with rapid progress and constant discovery, and your brain interprets each small win as reward after reward. But once you pass that initial learning curve and things become repetitive or require grinding to the boring middle, your dopamine system signals that nothing new remains here, and suddenly that project that felt electric last week now feels like a chore. And this is not laziness. This is your neurochemistry directing you toward the next source of novelty exactly as it was designed to do. Psychologist Barbara Sher identified a personality type she called scanners. And these are people who are not meant to specialize in one thing, because their genius lies in the act of exploration itself. And society tells you to pick one thing and commit to it forever. But that advice was designed for a different brain type, called divers, who go deep into one subject, while scanners are built to go wide across many subjects, and both are completely valid strategies, but only one gets celebrated in traditional systems. So you spent years feeling broken for not fitting a model that was never meant for you, and that shame you carry about unfinished projects is internalized judgment from a world that does not understand your operating system. Your brain also has what researchers call a mastery threshold, which is the point at which you have learned enough to satisfy your curiosity. And for some people, that threshold is expertise level. But for you, it might be competence level, meaning once you understand how something works, once you have cracked the code, your brain considers the mission complete even if the project itself is not done, because for your mind, the learning was always the goal, not the output. And this is exactly why you can pick up a new instrument and play it decently in 2 weeks, then never touch it again, because you were not trying to become a musician. You were trying to understand music. And once you did, your brain moved on to the next mystery. What other people see as weakness is actually cognitive flexibility, which is the ability to shift between different domains and connect ideas that other people keep completely separate. And research shows that the most innovative breakthroughs in history came from people who combine knowledge from multiple unrelated fields. And your brain naturally does this because you have dabbled in so many different areas, and that random project you abandoned last year and that hobby you tried for 3 months are not wasted time. They are cross-training for your mind, building a network of knowledge that specialists simply cannot access because they never left their lane. And you are building something that does not look like traditional success yet, but it is a foundation others cannot replicate. The problem is not that you never finish anything. The real problem is that you have been measuring yourself by someone else's definition of finished, because completion for a scanner might mean learning what you needed to learn and moving on to the next thing. And that is valid completion, even if there is no certificate hanging on the wall, and your graveyard of half-done projects is actually a museum of curiosity, and every abandoned notebook and forgotten app and dusty instrument represents a brain that refuses to stop growing. And that is not failure. That is a mind optimized for breadth in a world obsessed with depth. And you're not broken, you're built for something entirely different. So if you've ever felt guilty for not finishing what you started, remember, this your dopamine system rewards novelty, not repetition. Your brain has a mastery threshold that gets satisfied before projects officially end. You are a scanner, not a diver. And that is a completely valid path. Your cognitive flexibility is building invisible connections that specialists will never see, and finishing is not the only form of completion, because sometimes the learning itself was the entire point. If this video finally explains something you have felt your entire life, hit subscribe, because this channel is built for minds that never fit the standard mold, and drop a comment saying Scanner Brain so we can find each other